Welcome everyone to a Thursday night stream. It is Triple T Thursday, which stands for Tips, Tricks, Talktorials Thursday. I really should have come up with a better name for that because every time, it's a tongue twister. I'm like, did I get it out this time? Did I not? So today I have a very special guest, and I'm definitely going to let him introduce himself to y'all. But his name is Brent. He has a YouTube channel here called BYOT, so bring your own tools. And Brent is a powerhouse that has been blowing up over, well, a lot, but he's got over almost 175,000 people following him on TikTok, almost 135,000 people on YouTube, and he's made the switch in the last year or so going full-time. So we are here to spend some time with y'all about advice from going part-time into full-time, general contractor experience of 20 years. So it's weird that you're going to walk away from this career of 20 years and then go into something like, I'm going to be a YouTuber. So we're going to get into all of that. So everyone, welcome our guest, Brent. Oh, wait, I have an applause one. Wait, everyone, drop some applauses. Woo! Welcome to the party, Brent. Why don't you introduce yourself to everyone here on the stream so they can get to know you a little bit more?
Perfect. Well, Shelly, thank you so much for having me. I truly appreciate it. And I love the YouTube community, so any way I can help those out there with their own journey is truly rewarding for me. And personally, on my perspective, so yes, like you said, I have been in the construction industry for 20 plus years. I still consider myself in the construction industry, let's be honest, because I have plenty of construction projects going on. But it basically started from where, when I was very young, I was always the one that always wanted to build things, whether it was Legos and so forth. Then actually going into the construction field where I was more of a laborer, and then went to school for construction management, got out of school, and then was sat behind a desk. And yes, I was in construction, but it was one of those things where I realized fairly quickly that that was not for me. Even though I was in that realm for 10 plus years out of college, I had never had a desk job until I graduated college and then found myself at a desk job in construction.
Right.
And it was one of those things where I just kind of had to get myself used to it. And the nice thing about it is that it gave me different perspectives on the construction industry. I have a wealth of construction knowledge because I've worked as a laborer for GCs, for subcontractors. I actually in my last position, I was actually being flown to China and to overseas to actually source quality goods from China and bring them to the United States for large-scale construction projects. So I had a very unique wealth of knowledge within the construction realm. And back in 2010, I purchased my first home, which was, the ugly duckling on the block. Just needed everything could possibly ask for. And I started using YouTube for everything at that point. And I had a wealth of knowledge for construction, just I didn't know how to remodel an entire home by myself. So I started using YouTube for everything, and I found it extremely rewarding and gratifying because I had so many questions on how to remodel a house, and all I had to do is go to YouTube and find my answer.
Isn't that amazing, though? Even when I would remember you were like, oh yeah, 20 years in construction. I'm like, did you start when you were 4? Because one, that's illegal, I'm pretty sure, because it doesn't seem like, well, first of all, you've been alive long enough for that. But we're also going to talk about some life changes that you've had on YouTube, including everything from, getting married, having a baby, doing all of this, and still, remodeling a home, helping remodel your brother's home and bedroom and all that stuff. So this is amazing stuff we're going to be talking about. But before we get too much farther, we have an important question that we always ask every single week. Do you know the question?
I actually don't.
I see how it is. Well, there's two things that we usually do on a Triple T Thursday, and the first one is we're going to boogie at some point. So you just be prepared. And then the second one is we always start the show with asking a very important question, which is, what's in your cup? Now, it could be coffee, tea,
I should have
whatever.
known. I should have known.
You should know that one, right? What do you got there? Tell the class what you got.
So it is a beautiful, beautiful day in Seattle, and for that beautiful day, I need a refreshing beverage, and this is called Schöfferhofer. It's German.
That was amazing how you said that.
But it is more of it's a grapefruit beer, basically, so it's very refreshing, but it's still alcoholic, so perfect.
No, you're gonna have to send me that because I don't like beer. I do like grapefruit, but I can't
You will love this.
I can't pronounce what you just said,
guaranteed.
but that was amazing. So today, everyone, we are drinking sparkling ice. It is the cherry limeade variation. And don't forget, this has antioxidants and vitamins and zero sugar. I drink these like soda. So my husband and I, we get like cases of these
those.
from like Amazon delivered now to us because like it tastes like you're drinking like a fruit soda and it's like totally sugar free and all that stuff. So we actually now are gonna have to do a boogie and dance because of the fact we just got our very first super chat. So thank you so much to Dr. Ela for dropping a super chat for that. We're gonna boogie, so get on your boogie shoes, and to make it easier on guests, I always put on the overlay. We will be dancing underneath bubbles and little rays, so like people won't really see you doing it, but they will. So 1 second, I'm gonna pick a song, and we are going to. This is tough. I'm gonna go with 56 Electric. If you haven't ever seen the show, I just have an entire folder of songs and could not tell you what they are. I randomly pick one. So here we go, 56electric.mp3. All right, and let me get my bubbles. Ready? Hopefully, here we go. Maybe it picks up soon? I don't know. I have no promises. It's gotta get good, right? Okay, wait. Let me just make sure. I'm gonna go to another one because I can't guarantee. So here we go.
I got a good story for you out of this.
Okay. Thank you so much to Dr. Elo for dropping your super chat. We appreciate you. And for being a channel member. I see those beautiful emojis and whatnot he can have. That was so good. I love it. You're totally in it. Thank you so much for that. All right, I'm going to take off the bubbles, so if you need to stop dancing, don't worry. I'm giving you a warning. Here we go. Thank you so much. Thank you for dancing. I did turn off the music, but I'm getting the rainbow spinning wheel of death, so eventually. There we go.
Trust me, I am a dancer, and the one thing I do miss is actually going to clubs. So
I know. I've seen your profile picture on Facebook. You and your lovely wife have that beautiful dancing where you're dipping her. It's very wonderful. Okay, so tell me your wonderful story. What do you got?
Just because you played somewhat, fun DJ music, I had to tell you a story just because it happened recently. So one of the biggest shows that I watched back in the day, of course, was Jersey Shore. Well,
Gym Tan Laundry, right? GTL.
GTL.
I didn't watch that show, but like, I knew that. I knew that.
Lo and behold, who recently liked and commented on one of my TikToks? The only
Snooki?
Pauly D.
Oh, shut up!
DJ Pauly D.
I love it. Oh, that's so awesome. Oh,
Yeah,
that's so cool.
You know a video's good when DJ Pauly D comments and likes a video.
Heck yeah, I love that. Okay, so sorry, I'm going to kick you off screen for just 1 second, and then I'm going to bring you back because we just got our very first channel member of like probably the last 15 streams. So we're going to play one thing real quick, and I think it's just because this particular scene setup will toss you off screen, but I'm going to bring you back. Give me 1 second. I promise you'll be back. Here we go. Thank you to Sammy for joining the channel. Don't worry, it's a very short song.
Got all the graphics.
Boom! Welcome back to the stream. Sorry, no one ever signs up for like. Oh yeah, right. No one ever signs up for channel membership, so I never think to have it with the guest overlay. So it just literally kicks you off screen for a second. Sorry.
That's okay.
But welcome back to the party. Okay, so shall we continue? Where were we? We were talking about. Let me ask you then. What is the thing you bought a house and you were going to do home repairs for it, and that is kind of what first you got onto YouTube as kind of like that viewer. But what made you then decide to start posting videos? How'd that go?
Well, great question, because lo and behold, at a certain point, I could not find a video on a specific subject. And I searched and searched, could not find it anywhere from like a start to finish video. And I said to my girlfriend at the time, now wife, maybe I should create a video for YouTube because YouTube's helped me so much in the past. Then that way I can just give back to the communities in some way. And that wasn't the first video I did, but it was the one that kind of got the ball rolling of, hey, maybe I should try produce a video since this doesn't exist out there.
Was this the pavement one or like the building your back deck thing?
This was actually the how to grow grass video. There was not a good continuous video from start to finish on how to grow grass seemingly out there, which I could not find.
Amazing, right? Sometimes you see the need and you're like, I'm going to make that video now. So the next time someone needs to have this like answered, you've got it. Now, let me ask you, have you cornered the market on green grass growing? How'd that video do?
That's exactly it, because obviously there was a need, because that is still to this day one of my most popular video on the entire channel, has at least 1.5 million views. So it's awesome. Ridiculous.
That is so amazing. Now, I love this so much. And if you all didn't know, Brent and I have known each other for what, 3 years? 4 years? It's
crazy.
It's actually, I think it's 4 years now, because Brent is also in the Seattle area, and we met originally in the Seattle YouTubers Meetup group. We were both going to that kind of meetup and learning about YouTube and talking with other local creators. And so we've been around each other for many, many years, but this is the first time I think I've gotten you on the channel. It's like, so, and what I mean by this is, one, it's good to talk with people in your area, right? But two, when the episode that I did many, many moons ago where I was talking about sometimes collabs, they just take a really, really long time to ever come to fruition. And this might be an example of that. 4 years later since we've known each other, and now it's the first time we've ever collabed.
Hey, but it's been so worth the wait, because this is going to be your best live stream ever.
What about all the other guests? You're just throwing them under the bus now. You're like, oh, this is the one. This is
Sorry,
the one.
This is the one.
Sorry to everyone else and to future guests. This is the best one. All right, so we now know a little bit about how you got onto YouTube, and tell us a little bit about your journey when you got kind of from that part-time and when you kind of started thinking, oh, this is kind of a serious thing, and then got to that point where like, oh, this is a thing where we're going like full-time.
So it was when I started. I have a very unique, and everyone's journey on YouTube's unique, but personally, my journey was, I started and I really didn't know where it was going to take me, and I personally didn't tell anyone that I did the channel other than my wife for over a year. I just didn't tell anyone, because personally, I didn't want to start something and then tell my close friends and family about it, and then me skip out on it months down the road. And so I had a year check-in after my first year of YouTube, and I still just really loved the community, really enjoyed and found true passion behind helping others learn. And that was where it all of a sudden clicked for me, as to, I was so lost throughout a lot of my career in life and just didn't really have a path on what I truly wanted to do and what truly gave me passion, which of course as an individual just drove you crazy. But for some reason, somehow I found YouTube, and I just found such a passion behind helping others learn how to build and create, and that just snowballed into more videos. The problem, of course, with my videos is that they're very complex. I'm doing sometimes very large-scale projects like how to build a deck, and that is a lot of time and effort just to build the project themselves, plus video editing, all my voiceover and so forth. And as you know, that takes up a lot of time. Right. And if the project itself is taking up weeks or days, if not a week of time to actually do itself, then it's going to be very difficult for you to get consistent content out on a weekly, bi-weekly, monthly basis. And while I was enjoying my career on YouTube, I realized, hey, I'm barely getting content out maybe once a month. And that was hard for me at a certain point, just because I had a full-time career, full-time job, wife. And all of a sudden I realized if I really wanted to pursue this aspect, I had to make emphasis that it was going to be my full-time position. And it coincided, in all honesty, very nicely with the fact that I was in a very poor situation within my career. as in I just wasn't feeling appreciated. And a lot of people say that, and who knows if that was, actually the true case, but I put so much soul and energy into a company to build a company from the ground up, and it was doing very well, but they were not providing enough for me. And looking back, it's so funny because I look back and I gave them so many opportunities to keep me. There was just so many times that I offered different scenarios on how to try and keep me, but they would not provide anything for me. And it made my decision so easy because the fact they weren't not going to be giving me anything just made me realize, okay, this is not the position for me. I need to find my way. And luckily, I had an amazing supportive wife to really allow me to pursue my passion, because I personally love stability, and me just quitting
YouTube
my
is
job,
not always that.
quitting my job to pursue what I was passionate about was very, very nerve-wracking for me. And when I did finally quit my job, so I quit my job back in October of 2019. And the moment I quit my job, I just was full bore. I really, in all honesty, took YouTube seriously, but I was more focused on making $1 and trying to make revenue, because I didn't know where my next paycheck was going to be. So no matter what the job was, like, okay, I'm going to do that remodel, I'm going to do that bathroom. I probably did 3 bathrooms and a kitchen project within a month and a half. Wow. And it was just nonstop work, and I wasn't actually producing videos for YouTube for this time period, just because I was so focused on making and generating revenue for myself. And
you weren't filming all those remodels to have for,
of course not,
for content?
Of course not.
Oh no.
Nope. Of course not, because that would have made too much sense.
That would have been too smart. Yeah.
That would have made too much sense. I mean, in all honesty, there was reasons behind it, as to I was working with a crew and I was joining a crew, so inevitably it was going to be very difficult for me to try and videotape the process, and me wasting time with the videography aspect while other coworkers are watching me work.
Fair enough. Now let me ask you, where were you kind of sub-wise when you were kind of deciding to go from that part-time to full-time?
So I was back in October of 2019. I believe I was around 50,000 on YouTube specifically.
And that's kind of when you were making the jump. So what are some of the factors that kind of went into that decision when you were like, okay, how do we make this, from a part-time thing into a full-time thing? Like, how are you making money? Like, where was it all coming from? Like, because you said, I love stability. Where was it all coming from that you felt secure enough to be like, this is it, man, this is it?
That's the nerve-wracking thing. And of course, like I just said, everyone's journey is different. And personally for me, at that time, I really wasn't making that much revenue on YouTube. I was probably making around $2,000 to $2,500 a month on just ad revenue for YouTube, and which is decent, but obviously nothing to live upon when you're in Seattle. So that's why I was so frantic of trying to make sure I was generating revenue for my family. And I think, in all honesty, I had this more epiphany moment of realizing there was 2 different scenarios that I was looking at my channel with, and it was either going to be creating fun, unique, different stuff for woodworkers and for epoxy projects, because that was my true love and passion, and I wanted to create unique, fun things. Or am I going to go more the home improvement DIY route? And personally, for me, I took a stand and I said, okay, I can do these fun woodworking projects here and there, but to really generate a revenue and a consistent viewership, I need to go after what people are actually looking for. And that's
or niching down, huh? And listening to the audience?
It was more about just, okay, look at what keywords are, look at where people are watching and what people are looking for, and pursue those avenues, because no matter what, if you pursue those avenues, if the video's good, people are going to find it. Because the beauty about YouTube is they love good videos, because that keeps people on on YouTube longer.
Yeah.
So if a video does well on YouTube and has a long retention rate, they're going to promote it. And all of a sudden I started doing these videos on just popular things that I personally didn't find interest in, like how to install wallpaper. I did not have any interest on producing a video on how to install wallpaper, but I have my own techniques and I would like to share them to my audience, and therefore that video has over 700,000 views. So there you go.
Right. And it's true, because sometimes, in filmmaking, they sometimes will call it, you murder your darlings. And so, where you say like your thing was like, I really like woodworking and epoxy. And I remember at one point we were talking about that and floating shelves and all these different like resin and on the tables and things. And then you're like, and now I'm making videos about wallpaper, but people watch it and people view it. And it's interesting, because it's not always 100% of the time that what you always choose to create is exactly what resonates with your audience. And you've still been able to kind of work in some of these really cool projects, because I just saw a video that you did doing that huge headboard slab for your brother's house. And I thought something that was really, really interesting about this is I saw that video come across on YouTube, I saw it come across on TikTok, and then I saw it also come across on your Instagram. So you're kind of doing all sorts of repurposing with this content. And I'd love to hear a little bit about that, because, it's like, you're also getting big on TikTok. And how did that go? And are you making money over on TikTok? Because we're putting together your revenue pie here to see how you're able to afford being full-time.
Yeah, and we can go into like how I'm generating revenues in different ways, at the tail end of this conversation, because there's a lot of different avenues we can go down. But with TikTok, it was a fun, unique aspect, because of course, pandemic hit, COVID hit, March of 2020 obviously was where the United States really locked down. And at that point I was just thinking to myself, okay, how can I help others out there, like in different ways? And personally I thought to myself, my YouTube videos are large scale, not everyone's going to find them useful because they're not going to do them, so why don't I start doing fun small short form videos on YouTube? Well, I started doing short form 1 to 2 minute long videos on YouTube, which I called Quick Tip Tuesdays. Well, let's just say those didn't go off well, because I went into my analytics and I was actually losing subscribers from those videos. I was actually seeing my subscribership go down, because people that follow me, that like my content, my usual content, see that I was doing something different and then realizing, hey, this is not for me, I don't want this, and unsubscribing. So I realized very quickly that that was not the realm for my short form content, at least at that point. And of course, our friend Leah from CJ and Drill commented saying, hey, why don't you come over to TikTok and try and do that short form content over there, because I think that would be a really nice avenue for you to share that short form aspect. So of course I signed up for TikTok, didn't really take it seriously for a few months, and then I just thought to myself, hey, let me just repurpose my Quick Tip Tuesday videos that I did on YouTube and just put them on to TikTok and see what happens. Well, I found out very quickly how different those platforms are, because almost my same exact format videos that I did on YouTube that generated maybe 1,500 views, I put on TikTok, and within a week had millions of views. It was unbelievable.
I think I remember I told you also, you have to get on TikTok. I was like, you need to get on there. Like, this is like construction and DIY projects and before and afters. Like, are you kidding me? This, like, crafting, baking, cooking, these are the things that, like, how are you not on here? And it was amazing, because I saw you go on there and you were like, okay, well, I guess I'm going to do this thing. And here I am at 5,000, and now it's like 175,000. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, at first it was like, are you even trying? And you're just like, I guess I'll toss my hat in the ring. And you're like, oh, 200,000. Oh, okay. Well, yeah, let's do this. And I was just like, Brent.
After being on YouTube so long, I think you just kind of get that YouTube mindset of it just takes forever to get anything going on a platform. And then all of a sudden you join up TikTok and you get immediate satisfaction from very simplistic videos that you produce that take probably a tenth of the time to do compared to my YouTube videos, but can generate insane amount of views in a very short amount of time. So it was very shocking to actually see such a unique audience looking for that content and actually really enjoying those quick tip Tuesday aspects. And now obviously I'm doing more short form content on TikTok, and it just has a fun informational aspect where I'm now bringing that into more of a monetization for me in a different way.
So yes, let's talk about monetization a little bit here. Now, are you also a team of one doing all this? Are you doing it all yourself? You have team members now working with you?
So I finally hired on a brand manager, which basically he's basically going to be taking over all of my aspects with the different brands that I'm working with, because luckily I'm very proud of the fact that I'm in a very good position where there's many brands that want to work with BYOT, which is incredible. But personally, I'm only one man, so I can't take on everything. So I did just recently bring on a brand manager to handle the brand acquisition aspects.
Awesome. Now that's definitely something I think as people then start to get bigger, where they start to feel overwhelmed by emails and the inbox and the DMs. And that's about when you start to bring in people. And can you tell people a little bit how that relationship works? It's usually some sort of percentage or something on, is that kind of how you guys work together?
Yeah. So with any brand management aspect, it's this specific one is very nice because it actually came through a mutual friend, and a mutual friend contacted us together, and just it worked out extremely well. He's been in that type of industry for a while. He knows how to approach brands, and in all honesty, from me coming to this construction realm, it's so nice to have someone that is in that world, that knows brands, that works with brands, and knows your value, because that is such a key aspect as a content creator. Because personally, I was devaluing myself so much because I didn't know how much to charge. It's one of those things you really don't quite understand the power of your value to some brands until someone that's in this position really shows you and talks to you about what you can request and generate. And in all honesty, if I have to give him 10 to 15% of any brand acquisition that comes in, fine, because
it's like money well spent, because it's like you get 500% more
exactly,
on the other side.
Exactly.
Right. So I love that. And if that's something that people aspire to do in the future, working with, managers or, brand managers, all of that, just keep in mind that there are definitely trade-offs. So in some cases I've seen where people will use their brand manager to kind of be that front line and shield and protection. So they kind of filter those requests and be like, Brent doesn't want to do this, because they know what kind of companies that Brent wants to work with. Maybe you have like a top 30 list or something, and they're like, you're not on it, so you're not going to talk to him. Or helping the person realize that they're worth more money, and kind of doing the negotiation where you don't have to feel like the bad guy either. You're like, I would love to work with you. All of the money talk goes through my brand manager, and it's kind of another way to kind of push that off onto not having to be responsible for that, which can be very stressful, I would say.
Yeah, no, it's a very good point, and it's one of those things that I didn't personally realize that until I actually hired him on, and just realizing, all that time and energy that I spent trying to figure out and trying to build that relationship with the brand, which I do want, because any brand that I want to work with, it's a brand that I want to believe in, and I cherish those relationships with the brands that want to work with me, because that is personally important to me and to the audience that I present it to, because I always want to be very genuine and very open to my audience, and I'm not going to pitch them a product or a brand that I don't believe in.
So let's talk about that a little bit, because as people are kind of starting to come up through the ranks, a lot of the time they're going to get approached by tons of brands, right? And you're going to see everyone on one side of the fence who's jumping at any brand sponsorship, even though you probably know they've never used or touched that product in their entire life. And then the people who are like staunchly, I never do any kind of brand integrations at all. And so sometimes it feels like there's a little bit of a distrust when it comes to people in sponsor content. So how have you found that, you've kind of filtered working with brands, and how you integrate them into your channel in like a way that doesn't have your audience
Seem
being like,
addy.
you sold out, dude. Like, how have you navigated that?
It's difficult, and it's one of those things that I'm still learning. I think it just takes time to build that rapport and build that understanding. A good example of this is I really do want to emphasize tools and brands that I personally am wearing or using within the video. So, for example, I just worked with Helix Mattress or Helix Sleep. They produce, the bed in the box mattresses, and I had a bed project lined up for my brother because I wanted to build this badass sweet bed for him that he wanted because he just bought a new house. And I was approached by Helix, and I said, this is perfect because I can integrate you at the tail end of the video and showcase you as the final stage for this project. And at first they were like, okay, we need to be in the first third of the video, and we need to make sure this ad is 1 to 2 minutes long. And then we had a conversation of, they really don't work with a lot of people that actually build a project around their product. They obviously use, and they work with a lot of different creators that have nothing to do with a bed. They obviously, everyone uses a bed, so it fits in nicely because you can try out the bed for yourself and you can give an honest opinion of the bed, but the project is not based around a bed itself that they normally work with. However, with me, it was perfect because I built a full-on platform bed that looked gorgeous, or bed frame that looks gorgeous, and then the topper was at the tail end. I can present you perfectly to my audience because it's a very genuine aspect of, hey, I showed you how to build an entire platform bed, but we need a bed.
We need a mattress,
so
right?
There we go. There's your mattress, and it just worked
that.
out perfectly. And I absolutely loved that partnership because, one, they were a joy to work with, and two, the project turned out amazing.
The bed was so beautiful. I love that French Cleat system across the back as well, and how you explain that on TikTok. I mean, it's beautifully integrated across all the different platforms, and it did. And if anything, you could be taking some product photos of that bed and giving it to them for marketing materials as part of that entire package, being like, it's never going to look as beautiful as this, because that bed was primo. So I'm going to stop for 1 second because there's a few people in the chat who have a couple of things to say to you in a nice way. Okay. First of all, I'm like, let me preface. My friend Scott Peachy, also known as Technically Speaking, he says that, first of all, that beer is unbelievable. It is the all caps best. So you already have a fan in Scott. So that's amazing. Now, also, I think Dr. Elo said that he's already subscribed to your channel because he loves your entire vibe and your intro video. That's probably your 100,000. Good job, guys, while you're high-fiving all the tools. Love that. And then we also have D. Nimmin in the house, and he's saying he is a big fan of yours, and he's very excited that you're on the channel. And then
awesome.
last but not least, we have a few people in here from our Seattle YouTube group. So we have Parajetta, we've got Dutch Can Jam, James or Dave. So everyone is here, and they're all supporting you, and they're saying hello. So
I love it.
I know, right? It's like,
I can't wait till we can actually be together in one room one of these days, actually enjoying our Seattle Meetup group.
I know. Did you see that we actually, it's either just posted now or posting very soon. We just decided on the dates for the next round of meetups, the weekend and the weekday one. I know the weekend one is on the 24th. So that one will be, I think it's 3 o'clock on Saturday, but then the weekday one, I think, is at 7:30 p.m. on whatever day. But they just decided on that. So just FYI, we'll see you at least virtually for that one. Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, cool. All right, so we have a couple of last questions, and then you, if you have questions in the audience, questions about going full-time, I want you to drop them so that we can go through them and make sure that they get answered. One of the questions that we did get in from Twitter was from Challenge It V Off. It says, what do you think you would need to consider before going full-time on YouTube? So what kind of factors do you think you might want to think about before you're ready to, like, maybe if there was a checklist you gave people, like, if all these things or the majority of these things, think about it.
It's always about thinking about how you're going to generate revenue. And as a content creator, I at this point do not call myself a YouTuber. I may be on YouTube, but I personally call myself a content creator.
I hear you, Andrew Edwards. I hear you.
Roberto Blake.
No, because Andrew Edwards is always like, he always starts at any talk. He's also a Seattle YouTuber. Oh no, content creator. And he'll go to any talk and he'll be like, who here dreams about being a full-time YouTuber? And they'll be like, put your hands down. That's not even a real thing. You want to be a content creator. So he gets a little of that WWE voice in him and tells you, you're not being a YouTuber, you're a content creator. So you're right there.
But you know what? It's so true. And I didn't realize that until I quit my job and became a full-time, more entrepreneur aspect, because you all of a sudden have to hunt, and you have to hunt every single day for that next paycheck. And it's one of those things that I had to change my mindset about what revenue is and always having a paycheck at the end of the week sort of thing, because you rely upon a business to give you a paycheck for the vast majority of the entire world. But having a business that you've personally created and cultivated, and then you're trying to generate revenue for that business by yourself, is very different mindset. And personally, I found a great way to position myself nicely on YouTube, but also generate a confident revenue, because I had a set of skills. I had 15 plus years of construction industry in my mind, and knowing that made me know that I will always be able to find a paycheck, because there's always going to be someone that's going to need some type of home remodeling projects. And that just gave me a lot of positive mindset of, okay, I can do this. It's just a matter of making sure I put myself in the right position. And personally, before I quit my job, I did make sure I had a savings built up, just in case everything went wrong and I couldn't find work for 6 months. I'm okay. This kind of gave me a nice back set of confidence between that and my skill set, knowing that no matter what, I can generate some type of revenue.
Absolutely. So you touched on a few things I want to bring up. So one of them is, sometimes you want to make sure that you have a plan, and maybe even what I like to call runway, which is a savings. So like if everything goes away, could you survive on, your savings account? Can you save up 6 months worth, a year's worth? So I don't know if we ever got to really talking about this, but like I retired from my job. Yeah. I had saved up basically a year's worth of salary so that I could go be a full-time content creator. And then it was a couple months in, and then we're deciding to do this home remodel, which ends up being, home remodels are very expensive. Okay.
Shocking.
So I found myself back at work and I am hoping to retire again soon. And, but definitely having that runway is something that I would say for anyone who wants to sometimes convert. Yes, the fear of can motivate you, but you want to have some amount of savings set aside, because you don't want to be up a creek without a paddle and then being like, what do I do now? So there's that. Definitely have maybe some money, and maybe have a goal, so many months worth of money that you need to have in the bank. And then one thing, if we're going back to the brand integration, where you're negotiating with a mattress company about how to best integrate them on your channel, and they don't necessarily always have the best ideas. Some brands are very we want this, the first 2 minutes and the mention, and we want, this link and this swipe up and stuff. But you were actually able to stand your ground and be like, I think that this is going to be a better integration for you. I think it's going to be better in all different kinds of ways. And so you were able to negotiate that with the brand. And how did you find that the brand was able to kind of work with you on that, or kind of budge on some of those, and have that be a lesson to everyone? Yes, you can negotiate your contracts and in ways that make sense for you, because if a brand is going to be sometimes an asshole, maybe you don't want to work with that brand. But this one sounded like they were very nice. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, no, they were absolutely amazing to work with. And it was one of those things where personally, everyone is so on the computer, texting, emailing, so forth. What I personally love to do is I love to get on the phone call and actually just have a conversation and hash it out, because I love to tell them my passion behind a project, And if I can really dictate and show my passion behind a project, they can really get the sense of where I'm coming from and how I want to represent them in the best light possible. And with that aspect, it just worked out perfectly because of the fact that that was a large-scale project, and it was never going to make sense to showcase a mattress at the beginning of a bed frame project when I'm trying to build a frame for the bed.
Yeah, that would be cart before horse a little bit. But no, I love that so much. So let's talk. Now we're going to talk a little bit about money stuff. So we've got TikTok, maybe part of the Creator Fund, but maybe some sponsorships over there. I mean, do you want to kind of give us a breakdown overall on how the pie is put together?
There's a lot of pieces to my puzzle.
There's a lot of slices of pie. That's good.
There's a lot of slices of pie. Because, it's very, very true when they state that, if you're a content creator, you have to find just different forms of revenue. So I probably have 10 different types of revenue streams, whether it's from AdSense from YouTube, AdSense from TikTok, whether it's brand acquisitions as far as content creation, as far as sponsorship deals. Every single link in my descriptions of my YouTube videos is a link to Amazon or is a link to Home Depot. Those are all affiliate links. So no matter what, if anyone clicks on that link and purchases that product or any other product on their website, I'm getting a kickback from it. And when you are actually generating thousands of clicks a month, it might be a very small percentage that you get from each sale, but those add up. So on average, probably average about 15,000 clicks on my Amazon links alone a month, and that generates $500 to $900 a month, and that's just basically something that I don't have to do anything to after I post it. Literally nothing.
I love that. So that is very Roberto Blake and Andrew Edwards and everything coming out. I hear it all because a lot of the people who think that, first of all, being full-time, let's say, as on YouTube, like everyone is making a living off of AdSense and that's it. And I would I would say if most people had to make a living off of AdSense, there would be a lot of people in a lot of trouble, because for a lot of channels, and if you think about this, some of the big channels, like, I don't want to say their names, but they've recently been demonetized even because they like to put popular music in, or, and they do that on purpose. And so it's like, whatever you think they're getting in AdSense, it pales in comparison to what they're getting in brand sponsorships and affiliate sales and, all of those other things that people sometimes forget about. Email lists with marketing, selling courses, selling merchandise, all of the other ways that you can make money, which we have talked ad nauseum about on this channel, because AdSense is not permission to start making money. It's just when you get to a spot where you can add in another slice to the pie. So I'm glad that you're already living the advice that you should have a lot of slices of pie. So if you were to go back now and give yourself some advice and be like, what do you think you would tell yourself either at the very beginning and also at that point where you were going from part-time to full-time? So those 2 points in time.
That's a good question.
I know, that's why I asked it.
In all honesty, I would have said start sooner.
Yeah.
Quit your job sooner.
Quit your job sooner. Really? Okay.
It's one of those things that there's
for
reasons
you.
behind.
Yeah.
For me, yes.
For you.
Yeah, but personally, there was so much time wasted where I should have been pursuing this path further, and I don't regret anything in my past because I truly appreciate the experience and the knowledge that I have within the construction realm that I have, but knowing my journey now and knowing the fear that I had of quitting my job and how much happier I am and I'm in such a better place now comparatively to when I was back then, I would have for sure told myself, just quit your job and do this.
I think it's kind of funny too, because you're also, I think it's about 5 years that from when you first started to kind of now to get where you're at. Is that right?
So my 5-year anniversary was March of this year. Yeah.
And I saw you holding your silver play button and then talking about the long post about, 5 years. I know it's beautiful Congratulations with that. That's amazing. So I don't know if he's still here, but D Niman technically is supposed to unbox his, but he's been stuck in Mexico because of all of the quarantining type stuff. But not only that, the play button was sent to, Thailand. He's stuck in Mexico. And then his friend Daniel Vital, my friend too, also has received his play button, but I believe that they have a pact to not open it until they can open it together, which is very sweet. But I think right now they're both, like 6 months past like waiting to open this box. So at least now they can stare at yours and be like, hey, there you go. You didn't have that same. It's beautiful. I always have seen the pictures of the old one too. I like the old ones and I like the new ones. And I think the people who had the old style also had the option of purchasing or something like the newer style.
Probably.
I would do it. I would totally be like, have both and be like, yeah.
That's awesome.
I know.
I gotta tell Leah to do that.
I know, right? Okay, so there are a couple of questions here in the chat that I'm going to pull up for you. One of them is from Dave from Seattle, Dutch Can Jam, Says, Shelly and Brent, on the business side, what has been some of the most challenging parts as well as the most rewarding parts of being a content creator?
Should I go first?
Yes, absolutely. I don't think they really want to hear from me. So, go ahead.
The most challenging parts is, in my world, in all honesty, to create consistent content on a weekly basis. And that's really has been the difference maker within, I think, the true progression of my channel. Because after I quit my job and after I kind of had that couple months of just crazy workload, I sat down with myself and my wife, and we just, to really generate revenue and generate the viewership that we wanted and to have that subscribership, we had to make sure we were very consistent. And my goal was to actually get content out on a weekly basis every single week, no matter what. And I was not fully successful with that, because between that time I had a beautiful baby girl, and that definitely takes up a lot of time and energy through that aspect. But personally, I was able to get pretty close to 50 videos out last year, and that was huge for me, because before I quit my job, like I said, I was only getting out maybe a video every month. And trying to have consistent large-scale projects done every single week is very challenging, on not only trying to build the project itself, but then to make sure that it's edited and voiced over and all that other stuff that coincides nicely with the YouTube aspect. And I've done a very nice job of really being stagnant on knowing exactly what project I'm doing that week and how it needs to be done that week to get a video out by the end of the week.
That's nice that you can actually kind of like map it out. Now, are you still taking on like a bunch of side project jobs, or are you only doing them if they kind of coincide with filming?
So that's been a huge aspect, and a great question, because that's been a really big mindset for me too. That has actually happened probably within the last 3 months of I literally do not take on any projects whatsoever now unless they are something involved with content creation. And personally, that's something that I've been able to do, and I've been very grateful for the fact that I can move myself to that point, because that certainly wasn't the case in the past. But personally, because I have a very nice catalog behind me, people want to work with me, and people know me, so they know that if I'm doing a project for them, it's going to be filmed.
I was going to say, now it's part of the kit and caboodle and the pricing, by the way. Asterisk, your home may be featured on. It's a very like Holmes on Holmes. I don't see him going to someone else's house unless it's being filmed, or something.
Yeah, I don't think
Mike's rolling up to someone without the camera running.
No,
now,
I don't think so.
You did mention, though, the supportive wife. How did the wife react when you were going from that part-time to full-time? Now, I know you said that the job situation where you were at, maybe where they weren't appreciating you, and some spouses are kind of like, oh my God, just whatever, do it so that I don't have to hear about like the complaining about work. But in general, how did that go? How'd that conversation go when you're like, honey, I want to be a full-time YouTuber / content creator?
There's very few things in life that are more important than a supportive member, and luckily for me, I had the most supportive wife, and in all honesty, she had more belief in me than I did at that point. I still remember in bed with her the night before I was going to give my 2-week notice, of just like tearing up thinking of the fact that I was having to leave this job that I personally gave so much energy to. But having someone in your corner, knowing what you're worth and knowing how hard you would work when you're actually working for yourself versus someone else that doesn't take you seriously enough, that was huge, and it was so endearing and supportive, and I could not ask for a better wife and a supportive member behind, in my corner.
Kind of sounds like she gave you more self-confidence to do it when you're already starting to feel bad kind of about yourself and where you were at. So kudos to her for being such a strong rock.
Plenty of kudos for her. Trust me.
Yes, that's amazing. Okay.
And an important note to everyone is the fact that I do give full credit to my wife for actually coming up with the name BYOT. That was all her.
Okay, tell us the story. How did the genius wife do this? Because it's a very catchy title.
The genius wife pulled this out of her butt within
No.
2 seconds.
Out of her brain. Out of her brain.
True, out of her brain. But I still am shocked by this, because I remember the moment that I was just kind of rolling we were in the car, and I just looked to her like, I'm having a really hard time thinking about what should I name the channel. Like, I really don't know what I should name this channel. What do you think? And literally within 5 seconds, she just blurts out, how about BYOT? Bring your own tools. Just was nothing. Was nothing. I was like, that is perfect. Perfect.
She's brilliant, right? You just got to give her some credit. Came out of her brain, not her butt. Don't tell her that.
Yes.
Okay. Jeez. Now, let me ask, because you guys you came up with a title, it's not BYOT with Brent, how do you, when you have a brand that is not associated with your name at all, was that kind of by choice to never bring in your name, or how does that work a little bit? Because some people are very sticky about that, and titles and kind of company names. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, we can actually talk about the conversation we had together, actually. And
you and me?
Yes.
Oh no, if you say I pulled something out of my butt, I'm gonna you're on the side.
Well, no, we had a conversation, a very honest conversation after I quit my job, and you were like, you need to put yourself in your videos.
Oh, I think I said you need to put yourself in your thumbnails.
In your thumbnails, in your videos.
I remember that.
That's
I remember being like, you need to be you need to be the face of BYOT, right? Okay, no, continue. Yes, I do remember this.
But it kind of gave me the understanding, or the realization of, oh yeah, I am this person, and I am a personality. And if people like my videos, then they obviously like me as a person, because I am talking throughout the entire video. And that's why, personally, I think my video and my channel has done well, is because the number one priority on the entire channel from the very get-go is helping others learn how to build and create. And there's plenty of YouTube channels out there that are the DIY how-to aspect, but they show the process, but they don't actually teach you anything. And personally, for me, I find the most rewarding aspect to be on YouTube is to actually help others learn how to build and create. And I put a lot of time and energy explaining the entire process of doing so. And after our conversation, I just realized, okay, yeah, I need to put myself in these videos and at least present myself in a nice way so they know me personally, and that will probably coincide with more subscribers because they feel more of a connection,
right? That trust factor. I do remember that a lot too. And I remember also being like, if I was as good looking as you, I would plaster myself all over my channel, because you have a great looking face, and you're in construction, and it's not always the case that those two things are you have the picture in your head, right, of the guy with the plumber's You know what I'm saying? And like,
I
and
know
different,
exactly what you're saying.
you know what I'm saying? Like, or like the guy with the overalls and like looks sturdy, but you're not. You look like you stepped out of some fashion magazine and you just also happen to know how to like put in a faucet in 95 seconds, you know? And I was like, this is different. This is like the Ty Pennington of like the extreme home show. And I'm like, you have to be on screen. And I remember being like, I don't know what your problem is. Get your face on camera more often and in your thumbnails, because I was just like, this is something here. I do remember that conversation. I was like, what are you doing with your life? But not like that. I was just like, what are you doing with your channel? Because I was like, I was confused by it, because I was like, it's not like someone who's, you know, not good looking and like, oh, I'm afraid of, and I'm like, no, you don't have an excuse. What's your problem? Just get yourself on camera. So I remember that. So it is an interesting phenomenon, and I feel like you've done a really good job in being in a space where you can explain and you have like a very calm demeanor. And I also feel that when I talk and I listen to Leah, like you mentioned, from CJ and Drill, and I know that you guys had not only become friends, but you even had started doing some live streaming together, right? So can you tell us how that came to be? Because this is in collaboration then with another Seattle YouTuber at the time, and you know, her channel is quite large as well, and you guys cover kind of the same things, have similar personalities, but you guys made this like live streaming show work. Tell us about that.
Well, Lee and I just have a really amazing relationship. She's just one of the most amazing, genuine individuals I could possibly have met within this creator space. And she, you know, she's one of a kind. You come across people in your life and you find the individuals that stick out are instantaneous, and she had that personality. She was such an amazing mentor to me over the past couple years, and really has given me great guidance throughout my YouTube career, which I truly am grateful for. But with the fact that COVID happened and the pandemic happened, we both looked at ourselves of saying, what can we do? How can we help others? How can we be out there for people, answering questions? And that's really how the live streaming aspect came to be, because of the fact that all of a sudden we're stuck at home, we have a little bit of extra time on our hands, so why don't we start doing a weekly or bi-weekly live stream to try and help answer questions of other individuals out there.
And it's not something that you see very often, where someone who has basically a DIY construction type channel is now live streaming, because you guys have projects that are usually, you know, several weeks in length and have multiple stages, steps, and, you know, this beginning and end. And here you are, where we have a huge influx of people staying at home, probably doing DIY projects, and now have a ton of questions, and then had this place to come and ask two very experienced people. So I just thought that that was so amazing. I popped into a couple of them where it was the two of you just talking, and people were firing questions left and right, and you were just kind of like one after another, just like going through them. And that was just wild. It was wild.
It's the beauty of both of us being in the construction realm for so long. We have different backgrounds as well. So for the most part, we can answer almost any question if it comes to
like
construction.
Try to stump us, and I felt like I know, right? People were like trying, but like you guys always had something to say back, and I was just like, this is unusual. I remember being like, this doesn't make sense to me that two people are just taking random rapid fire questions about home repair on a live stream. And I'm like, wow, beauty of YouTube and the times we're in. So.
Yeah, it's the beauty of that we're in, and I'm so grateful for the fact that we have that opportunity to help other individuals within their own DIY life.
Yes. So James Pruitt did leave a comment down here, and he said that, like Shelly mentioned on a different live stream, I have too much confidence. Oh, I have confidence issues, and it's always awkward asking people for money, so I know it's a mindset thing, but I still have to get comfortable with the part about monetization. So one thing here, that kind of mindset is going to creep into things like you talked about, undervaluing yourself when you're talking with brands about videos, or, you know, stopping you from maybe asking people to buy you a coffee, which is kind of one of those like tip jars, virtual tip jars. And this is going to roll into, I saw on your banner, you also have like a Patreon. So is your Patreon still active, and how do you decide what kind of information to give people on Patreon? Because it is asking people for money in exchange for something, or more interaction with you. So this is one of those, how do you build confidence to have something like that where you're asking people for money?
It's a good question, and there's two parts to that. So with the Patreon, hopefully I don't have it on there because I have not paid attention to it in a very long time. I have actually tried to delete most of the aspects of Patreon, and I have, buy me a coffee, that sort of thing every once in a while, and someone provides that for me, but I don't put any time and energy into that realm just because there's plenty of people out there that have a Patreon that do very well and love that community because that is an amazing community. But personally, I put a lot of time and energy into different avenues for generating revenue, and I just didn't find that Patreon. And personally, I felt the same way. I felt uncomfortable asking strangers for money, especially when it's different between a brand versus a stranger, because I'm going to be providing this content for anyone and everyone no matter what. So I felt very uncomfortable asking people for money on Patreon. However, I have no problem asking brands for revenue because I want to actually generate revenue as well as generate viewership for their products.
Yeah.
And that is providing a service to those brands, and those brands do have budgets, quarterly, yearly budgets to showcase different products or different tools on different platforms.
Now, I am going to say your Patreon is linked in your YouTube banner. So that's where I got that from. So FYI.
I'll have to remove that.
FYI. Now, I'm assuming that your channel is large enough to turn on channel memberships. Is that something you've considered doing on YouTube?
I have considered that. I just, in all honesty, haven't put a lot of time and energy into even thinking about it. And I would be interested just to see what that would potentially generate, just because I have a very nice cohesive base of subscribers, and they might be really interested with the fact that my videos and the quality of my videos as well as the projects on my channel are becoming larger and bigger and more complex, which obviously coincides with more money.
I think you would probably be, I think a lot of your people would probably sign up, even if you did like the $1.99, or something like that, even just to call it a virtual tip jar for money for like a new saw or whatever it is. I bet you'd have some people sign up.
I think for a couple of those questions, especially the individuals that are looking to become a full-time content creator, the one thing that has really helped me get in front of brands and put myself out there in the perfect light is to actually make a media kit. A high quality professional media kit was a huge thing for me personally, because I wanted to make sure I put myself in a very specific, in the best light possible when presenting to brands for the first time, because you only get one first impression, you only get that one first date, and it better be a good one. So making a nice high quality media kit was a very good choice, and I actually paid someone to make it for me so they could have, so they could make it exactly the way I wanted it and have that perfect professional look that I was looking for.
That's very good advice, and that's also something that definitely I've heard from Andrew a lot in all of our kind of like meetups. He's always talking about not only the media kit and the professionalism there, but the art and finesse of getting like a deal that has a lot of things. Like, you don't want a one and done. You want like, how can we make this a series of 3 videos, or how can we do a package that has this and an Instagram reel and a TikTok and like when you start to salt and pepper all these things together and make a cohesive kind of like package for someone to kind of be like, I'll take one from column A and one from column B and let's do this deal. So having a media kit, yes, absolutely. And you paid someone to do it. Did you find someone off of like Fiverr or someone local, or?
You can obviously do those. I've used Fiverr in the past, and Fiverr's been amazing, which has been really nice. Sorry.
Who you got there? Who you got
Sorry,
there?
my
no,
dog's
it's
in
good.
here.
Show them. Mine is
Kona,
somewhere.
Kona, come here.
Show them.
No, come on. Over here. Come on. Up. No. Okay. He's a little big.
No, it's great. I love the tippy tappies. Oh, hello.
There he is.
Oh, so cute. Oh, he's like, I know the camera's on me now. No thanks.
I know the camera.
No thanks.
Place.
Love it.
Sorry.
No, you're
Anyways, where were we? Sorry.
Where did you get your media kit done?
Okay, yes, media kit. So it was an old coworker of mine who we hired to produce media kits for different construction brands, and therefore I knew the perfect person to talk to. Just used him for myself. But Fiverr, there's plenty of other avenues that are much cheaper than he was, but personally, I loved the rapport that I had with him already, so I wanted to make sure I supported him as well as myself.
I love that. Yes, bring your friends up with you along the way, or old coworkers. Absolutely. Okay, so we are coming down to the end, so I want to give you a chance to be like, anything that you really think that people should know, anything you really want to share, now is your chance.
The number one thing that I would love to push upon individuals that are content creators or just people in general is always build upon yourself. It's the key aspect in life, especially for individuals that just want to be successful in life, is never stop learning and never stop building upon yourself, because that's where I truly have found and pushed myself into this position, because I don't have any type of background behind content creation. I don't have any type of background in video editing. I've pushed myself to create and to become better. And especially with my videography and the videos I produce, because I am a one-man band at this point of producing my own videos, I take great pride in the videos I produce. And I can see, if you go back to your channel, if you are a content creator and you look at the videos that you did a year ago, 2 years ago, and you don't cringe a little bit, then you're doing something wrong. Because you should look back at the videos you did in the past and you should cringe a little bit, because if you don't, that means you're not pushing yourself and you're not becoming better. You should always try and make that aspect in your, you should always make yourself or your channel better continuously, and building upon yourself and building that skill set means that you're just going to become better throughout the years to come.
Absolutely. And so a lot of people that I know, we kind of all call it, always being a student of YouTube. And that, is like reading the blogs that come out, or looking at your analytics, or trying to one up yourself when it comes to videography, or possibly editing, or sound, or lighting. And there's always something that a lot of us are learning. And most of the time when you think like you've reached the pinnacle, you probably have not. And then you look back a year later and you're like, wow, I thought that was amazing. It's the bluest uncolor corrected thing I've ever seen in my entire life. It's embarrassing. So I definitely agree with you that a lot of the time you will look back and cringe at some of your old videos, but the truth is they exist and you grew from it. And I think what you talked about earlier about wishing you had started earlier, I think it's almost the case for everyone who's ever been on YouTube. How long it took them to get started getting over that fear, that first video and posting. It can take some people a really, really, really long time, like years. And some people never even do it. There was a couple people that came to Seattle YouTube Meetup. It was 3 years apart. She still hadn't posted a video. I don't know if you remember that one, but I was just like, what are you doing here? For 3 years, you couldn't post one video?
And it's one of those things where, you just got to start, and you just got to keep on going and keep on producing content, even if it's not good content. I think that's I think that's an old Mr. Beast saying, is that just put out 100 crappy videos.
That's a Roberta Blake one, too. The both of them.
Blake. Yeah. So, and it really is a difference. And in all honesty, I've only created 118 videos.
So only the last 18 were good. Congrats. Good work.
Oh, that was a good one. Oh, Shelly, zing on that one. That was a zinger.
It wasn't bad, right?
That was good.
It's not bad.
That was good.
Yeah. So one thing I will say, there was something in a Facebook group today, and we will kind of part on this, is there is this difference between quantity versus quality. Now, if you had to pick one, which do you think would be more important for growth and learning on YouTube?
Personally, for me, it's been about quality, and it's that aspect of, yes, I'm pushing myself to produce content every week, but I have a very unique aspect where I'm not an individual that's just going to be in front of the camera talking, telling my story, and giving confidence lessons to anyone and everyone who wants to listen to me. I personally have to push myself to create these random, unique projects, and that takes a lot of time and energy to do. So the only physical amount that I can actually produce is on a weekly basis. And look at one of the most successful and one of my all-time favorite YouTubers is Mark Rober, and he produces 12 videos a year, one a month, and that's it. And guess what?
And they're amazing.
They are amazing. They are some of the best videos out there. He's one of the best storytellers on YouTube, hands down. And it just shows how the quality is so important to the success. Yes, you want to produce plenty of content because you can learn through that process, but you have to continuously learn and push yourself to become better and produce better quality content.
No, I think that's a really good example if you want to be on that side of the fence. I am going to take a counter side of that fence and say there was and I talked about it once before on a stream, so everyone who's heard this story before, sorry, earmuff it, but there was a pottery class, and the professor for this pottery class said, they split the class in two, and they said, this half of the room, your final grade.
Oh, I know.
You know it, right?
This is a great one. I love this one.
Now you're going to tell me I screwed it up, right?
No,
I'm going to tell it.
Going.
You're going to be like, that's not how the story goes. I'm like, okay, I was paraphrasing, okay? Leave me alone, Brent.
I love this story, so please continue. Sorry.
So, no, you're good. So, yeah, I am paraphrasing. I don't know it okay, so he took half the class and he said, hey, y'all, this pottery class, you are going to have your final grade be presented on, one project. So it's got to be the most high quality piece of pottery that you've ever done in your entire life, and that's your entire final grade. And then he took the other half of the class and he said, hey y'all, you guys are going to be graded on how many pieces of pottery, finished projects that you can actually produce. So go team, go on. And what they found in this particular case is that the people who created a whole bunch of pieces, went through garbage pieces, learned lots of mistakes, were ending up at the end producing higher quality pieces than the people who spent all this time theorizing, thinking about what this final piece was going to be like, because they'd also never come across any of the problems. They hadn't come across any of the ways and mistakes. So they just focused on making a piece of pottery, but what ended up happening was they weren't very good. And so the people who just made tons of they thought it was crap, but what they ended up with at the end, they learned very quickly and their pieces were better. So sometimes I think about that example and I think sometimes, quality, which can be subjective, especially like art, not the best example, but sometimes you cannot achieve quality without going through quantity. So there are some people like Mark Roper or maybe Vangirl where the few pieces of content, and they started right off the bat, they were amazing. But I think for a lot of other people, when you see like MKBHD, you've got 100 videos to get 83 subs, and now he's at, 12.5 million subs or something like that. He had to go through the quantity to ever get to the level of quality and everything and the journey that he's at now. So I usually stand with, I believe that quantity will help breed quality down the road, but you just got to get some videos out.
I think the truest aspect of this entire conversation that we can kind of commingle both sides together is just making sure you're putting the time and energy in every single day. And I think that's the truest aspect, because whether you're pumping out and generating a video every single day or you're generating one every single month, making sure that you're at least pushing yourself to produce the best content you can and work hard doing it every single day. That's the important thing, because that means you're learning. No matter how much content you're producing, you're still learning through that process by doing. With that comment of, the aspect of you gotta study and talk about creating the best vase possible. Well, you're never going to create the best vase possible until you get on that wheel and you start working it. And I think that's the truest sense of making sure you put that time and energy in. And the one moment that I had a realization recently was the fact that I know this is for me, because recently I had to get a video done and get that video into the brand's hands by Friday morning. And I spent all night long producing that video, and I got 2 hours of sleep after getting that video done. But at the end of the day, I woke up Friday morning, and guess what? I felt so proud of the fact that I produced that video, and I loved how I was able to get it done, and that means I could get a video out that week versus skipping a week. Like, that gives me so much pride and energy, and knowing that that is my mindset, and knowing the fact that this is my truest passion to try and help others learn how to build and create is such a driving factor and love in my life.
I love that. Now, I do want to also clarify, in case anyone was trying to say, just because you create quantity, if it's poop, it's still poop, okay? Like, I understand, it doesn't just mean a 5-second my day at the zoo, what I mean for the next, okay, so yes, still trying to make good videos.
Yes, the aspect of making good videos is very important, yes.
And I want to say something. When you say, we say that quality is subjective too, because you say, hey, I'm going to study all this, I'm going to make the perfect vase. What if the vase, though, when you say the perfect vase, it can't exist, because what if someone only wants to put one flower stem in it? Or what if they want to actually have one that's big enough to put coins in as a coin jar, but you never made it wide enough at the top to put a coin in? Or if it's going in an art nook and it's round on the bottom, there is no perfect vase. There's a perfect vase for a person that's looking for it, if that what makes sense.
But yeah. There is a perfect YouTube channel. That is Shelly Saves the Day.
Shut up. And also BYOT. Check out his last 18 videos. They are terrific. And I'm really excited about that to tell people about that. And also,
but don't watch anything before that, because it is garbage.
Garbaggio. Don't look at it. Don't look unless you want to see how far he's come. But you can also catch Brent on TikTok. Why don't you tell the people where they can find you and what your next video coming out is going to be about?
Okay. Anyways, you can find me anywhere and everywhere at BYO Tools. So BYOTOOLS. That is on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, so forth. So please follow me there. And my next video is actually how to remove wallpaper.
Oh, shut up.
Yep,
when you got something good, you go with it. Sometimes you got to ride that popularity wave.
It's one of those things that, again, it worked out perfectly with the brand that I'm working with. I'm working with Wagner, and they actually produce a wallpaper removing tool. Okay. And I was like, hey,
I saw you post about that on he's like, anybody need wallpaper removed? And I was just like, what are you doing?
It was hard to find.
Yeah, what are you doing?
But yeah, I have a video on YouTube that has done very well on how to install wallpaper. Well, I will now be doing a video that coincides nicely with that video, because I will show the process of how to remove wallpaper.
Oh my gosh, that would be so helpful, because back in the day, I had a home in Olympia, and basically the person who had lived there before, it was basically a velvet kind of wallpaper where it was disgusting. Never mind. I had to take it down. I was, in the scoring, I was trying to steam. I had a clothing steamer because it would not come off the wall. Whew, you could help me then. But yeah, I was giggling earlier because Dr. Elo I was trying not to laugh in the middle of what you were saying, but he said, this is shirtable. And he says, poop is just poop. And when I read that, I just started laughing. And I'm like, it's true. You can put poop. Lipstick on poop and it's just poop. You can't dress up poop. It's just poop. Poop is just poop.
But that's the beauty about, any YouTuber that's successful. You click on their page and you go to oldest video and take a look at their oldest content on that platform, and it is shocking the difference.
And most of the time that's not even their oldest video, because they probably privated it. There's even more underneath that layer. It's just what they've allowed to still remain. But yeah, go look at anyone's. They're awful most of the time.
But if you watch my very first video, which is still on YouTube, that is a game changer between what that looks like and how I talked and how I presented myself to what the channel is now, completely different within a 5-year period. And I'm very proud of that. And that's something that I think any YouTuber should strive for, is to see that difference, because that truly shows you how much you've grown over that over that span.
I remember we talked about gear once. You had you you shoot with a couple of Sony cameras, right? Like the A6400, was that right?
6300.
6300. Yeah, I remember, and like looking at that, and yes, night and day between some of the older videos and the newer ones, and like that backdrop that you had with all of the like the dark and all the tools and all of it on it. Yeah, I remember like we had talked about like that at one point, and like how it was changing and just looking different. And yeah, it's been quite the journey, because like I said, we've known each other for about 4 years, so it's also been interesting to see the journey of your channel, because I remember you came to the group and I think we were celebrating at one point, like you had just hit like 5,000 subscribers or something, and then it was like 50,000, and like it's amazing where it's been. So
I literally had the most subscribers I've ever had in a single month last month, and it's awesome. So rewarding.
Anything you think that is attributed to?
Just consistency. I think, in all honesty, obviously a couple of videos have done well, but I think for the most part, having that consistent aspect, that good look, that quality thumbnail, and making sure you're presenting yourself in a very nice professional way has done wonders for the channel. And I think it's just going to be exponential growth from here, because the fun thing is at this point is the fact that it's been a very long 5 years to get to this point. But in all honesty, this is just the beginning.
Yeah, I feel like your trajectory, you're going to be a 1 million subscriber channel like in no time. And I feel like even though the journey from 5 years to here, it's going to be like 2 years or a year and a half, and then it's going to be at like 1 million. You know what I mean? It's like,
well, I mean, it is crazy to think about how long it took me just to get to 1,000 subscribers, and how long it took me just to get to 10,000 subscribers. I just averaged over 11,000 subscribers in 1 month. 1 month. It's insane, and I'm truly grateful for all the love and support, because seriously, like it there's so much love and passion behind what I do, and the fact of the matter is it took me a long time to realize what I wanted to do in life, and having the ability to truly find what your purpose is in life is so valuable to me, and I do not take it for granted.
Yeah, a lot of people never find that, and they just keep searching. So it's amazing that you found it so early, and people like really respond to it because it's genuine and it's true, and you can see that in all of your videos and in your demeanor and how you talk. And I will say one thing about you, when we talked about always learning and being a student of the game, I remember it's been years, like you would post your thumbnails in the Facebook group and be like, hey guys, what do you think this one, you know, this one has the branding in the corner, this one doesn't, this one has me in the barbecue with the thumbs up.
Oh,
do you remember?
I remember that one.
Yeah, I remember too. And I would be like, put your face in it, you know, and
put your face in it.
I did. I was like, put your face in it. You know, because it was a barbecue. It's like, yeah, it's great. Put your face in the thumbnail. I think I said that to you. So you've continually been learning, growing, applying, and like upping the game. So love that. So, okay, we went over, so I apologize. I'm sorry to your wife and to your little girl and to your puppy. Any last words you want to leave the group with?
I think I had it said, where just continuously build upon yourself. You know, no matter whether you're a content creator or not, as long as you're building upon yourself and learning new things, whether it's DIY or makeup tutorials or anything, as long as you're continuously trying to learn and build, that means that you are going to become more successful in life, because you are not stagnant. It's so easy to become stagnant. It's so easy just to be a Netflix and chill. Trust me, I have had those moments of just Netflix and chill. I needed to turn my brain off. But making sure every single day that you learn something new and you try and build upon yourself is so valuable in the long term, because those small little steps make a huge difference in the long scheme.
Awesome. Well, I want to thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us today. We're going to let everyone go. We will see you hopefully back for another Triple T very soon. And we thank you for tuning in, and have a great rest of your night, everyone. We'll talk to you later. Thank you so much for being here, Brent. See you later, everyone.